All right, so there's this guy back in 2013 named Nick Colas, and on April 5th, 2013, he went on Bloomberg Business, and in this interview, he perfectly articulates, reasons, explains the value proposition that is Bitcoin as we know it today. When Bitcoin was only 4 years old, right? Nobody understood it. Well, he understood it, and he made the argument, and actually for 3 minutes straight, he makes this argument to a clueless business TV anchor. And he just talks about why Bitcoin might turn out to be a good investment. Now, this was back in 2013, so let me remind you. So right now, in 2019, Bitcoin is at $8,600. If we zoom out and go all the way back to when he went on Bloomberg Business TV, it was right here. So Bitcoin had just surpassed the $100 mark. A few days after the video, we rallied up to 260. A few days after that, we fell down to 47. And then 7 months after that, Bitcoin climbed up and broke through $1,000 for the first time in history. Now, the point is, whether you got in at 100 or 1,000 or 260 or 47, it's all peanuts given enough time. Any of us wish we could have bought more Bitcoin at any of those price points. If you would have listened to this man reason and articulate Bitcoin's value back in 2013, perhaps you would have understood the bigger picture. Perhaps you would have actually bought some. So listen to what this guy has to say, and then you tell me in the comments if you would have actually bought some after listening to this guy reason and articulate the arguments. And actually, the more I think about it, I don't think you would have actually done it, because check out some of these comments from 6 years ago when this video was posted. You pay for it, you get your Bitcoins in 3 to 4 days. It's amazing how the mainstream scammers always manage backhanded compliments. Or this one, question, where have I heard this before? Answer, immediately before every scam and bubble burst in history. Great Depression, Enron, US housing, tulip craze. Bitcoin, scam, scam, scam. Don't say you weren't warned. Or this one, I'll laugh when all the fools that buy into Bitcoin go bankrupt. And then this one I found, this is Hex Awareness Team. This guy actually still comments on our videos today. He had to change his name, obviously, but this is still the same account. He says it's a moonshot. So Hex Awareness Team, if you're watching this video right now, let us know in the comments what you thought when you watched this April 5th, 2013. We will be looking for your name in the comments to start a discussion with you, Hex Awareness Team. Anyways, let's watch the video and you tell me what you would have done. Would you have bought Bitcoin or would you have scoffed it off? Like the video, support the channel, check it out.
Is this legitimate in your view?
It is legitimate, and it is a fascinating experiment in what it could be a brand new currency, one that knows no borders, knows no boundaries, and in many cases knows no rules. So I think it's a really fascinating case study of what's happening to our society globally.
Talk about the kind of attention that it's getting right now, especially from your clients.
Yep, it is getting a lot of attention. People are fascinated by anything that makes new highs every day for weeks on end, which Bitcoin has done. And so that draws a lot of attention. And then people are
hedge funds, individual investors?
All of the above. Private investors, private capital, venture capital is very interested in this trend. So you're seeing a lot of interest across the board.
So what do you tell them? You tell them to buy it?
I tell them that it is certainly a valuable part of a diversified portfolio. To me, it seems like gold for nerds. You know, we had gold for many, many thousands of years as the relevant reserve currency. Bitcoin seems like it wants to step into that role for the online world. So I think it's valuable in that respect. It's also potentially valuable as a method of transaction across borders because it's extremely efficient. And that really is the next level of the story for Bitcoin.
But look at what's happened just in the last 48 hours here. Vulnerable to hacking, that crushed the price. It went from 140 to 100.
That's right. What's interesting is that the central nervous system of Bitcoin, the process of creating new Bitcoins and holding transactions is very secure. But the individual wallets and exchanges are still very susceptible to the kind of denial of service attacks and hack attacks that you talk about.
Well, talk about it. So this is the currency block of lunch money. Why is this a viable alternative to a hard currency that's backed by central bank, by governments, regulated, and in circulation?
Yep. The bottom line is that Bitcoin resonates the same reason gold resonates, because nobody controls the supply aside from an algorithm that only issues 25 new Bitcoins every 10 minutes, and that'll decrease over time. So it's standardized and it's commoditized to a point where there's very limited supply. Anytime you get incremental demand, there's a positive story for the currency.
One question that I get a lot on Bitcoin is what's the difference between Bitcoin and PayPal?
PayPal is denominated in currency, such as dollars.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is its own currency. So the transfer process looks similar, but PayPal is in dollars, Bitcoin is in Bitcoin.
So how do you get it?
You get it by going through any one of a number of local providers called wallets, and you can link up your bank account to purchase Bitcoin. Your purchase transaction goes through an exchange, and then you receive your Bitcoins in 3 or 4 days.
So why are you telling people, I understand the idea that a diversified portfolio, but you can diversify with a lot of things that aren't virtual.
Yes. You know, as we move into a 21st century world, a technology-based world, it makes sense that something like Bitcoin will eventually be very successful. Is it Bitcoin? No one has any idea. But you certainly pays to be exposed to it early on.
What do you think of the Bitcoin bubble stories? Cover the Financial Times yesterday.
Yeah, you know, bubble's an easy term to throw around.
Well, if you've seen the price, it's a moonshot.
It is absolutely a moonshot. The question really you have to ask about Bitcoin is it going to move beyond just being this kind of freak show reserve currency story of the online world to being a real, viable, long-term transactional currency?
And you say yes.
I say it's very possible.
But we're still in freak show mode.
So another problem that I'm sure you realize that we have, another problem are these clueless business TV news anchors. They don't provide any perspective themselves. They don't provide any value themselves. Instead, every time we just see them looking at the Bitcoin guest with these clueless eyes. And I'm not trying to pick on her or the reason I bring this up is because now I want to pivot a little bit and talk about Michelle Lee, who you know on CNBC, Fast Money. She's been on CNBC for 10 years now. Basically, since Bitcoin was created, Michelle Lee has been on CNBC. And I bring this up because, well, you remember about 2 months ago, Michelle Lee, Mark Yusko, the CEO of Morgan Creek Digital, was on, and he said, buy Bitcoin, and Michelle Lee looked at him with this clueless face and even called him an outcast at the very end. I want to compare this clip to a clip of her 6 years prior on CNBC, same show. 6 years prior to that clip, Bobby Lee was on her show. And regardless how you feel about Bobby Lee, he's basically just explaining to her the value proposition that is Bitcoin and why he thinks Bitcoin could grow. And again, it's this same clueless Tucker Carlson type look. So my point is this: these people do not get it. 6 years ago, when the price of Bitcoin was $100, they scoffed it off. 8 months ago, when the price of Bitcoin was $4,000, they scoffed it off. Today, the price of Bitcoin, $8,000, they continue to scoff it off. Now, I actually think one day they will understand the argument and understand the value proposition, but that day is not today. So basically, let's finish things up. Do your own research, make your own decisions, but let's watch these two videos back to back. And actually, let me know in the comments below at what date do you think Michelle Lee will stop making this face and actually understand that Bitcoin is a real global asset. So let me know down below at what price or at what date. Like this video, support the channel, and feel free to subscribe if you're new and you want to be a part of daily content like this. Let's watch the videos back to back, and I will see you tomorrow, my friends.
Quickly, before we go, Bitcoin was under 8,000 earlier today.
Buy it.
Regardless, though, of the drop. If I said to you Bitcoin dropped to 5,000, you'd say buy it.
Buy it. Because here's the thing. The daily price of Bitcoin doesn't matter. It's been alive for 10 years. In every year, other than one, 2015, it's made a higher low. The market cap has grown every single year. Every fundamental indicator of Bitcoin, usage, wallets, block size, transaction size, number of transactions, every single one, hash rate, making new highs. All of the indicators of the network and the network value are rising. The price of any asset fluctuates. Let's take Amazon. Amazon's been a public company for 20 years. In every year, including this year, it's at a double-digit drawdown. The average peak to trough, minus 31%. Twice, minus 90%. When was the right time to sell? Never. Who's owned it since the IPO to today? Jeff and his mom and dad. That's it.
All right. We're going to leave it there, Mark.
All right,
Good to
thanks.
see you.
Thanks for having
Mark
me.
Yusko, Morgan Creek Capital.
Outcast.
A.K.A. Outcast. Mark likes...
But as I was explaining to many folks, you know, for it to be a true worldwide asset class, it would have to have a very, very large circulation value to account for, you know, the global population. If you compare it to any asset class, probably the most famous is gold, you know, with 170,000 tons of gold. And that works out to about a little under 1 ounce per person on Earth, you know, roughly $1,000 US of of invested value in above ground gold. So if you compare to that, Bitcoin is a fraction of what it could become in terms of a global asset class. So, as we get to a future utopian society where if Bitcoin were to really take hold in human society, then the total circulation value will be in the trillions. And to get from 0 to trillions is going to be a bumpy ride. It can't go there immediately.
It would be quite a ride if it did. I want to ask you, because Bitcoin is, it's digital. It's a barcode that you get once you put money in. Who's to stop anybody else from creating another Bitcoin?